Hey, kiddos, hope everybody's doing well. First Friday of the school year. I hope we're getting into the flow of things. Um, if you're finding the flow is hard to find, reach out with anything that you might need. I've got kind of I don't know, this might be a weird kind of rambling presentation. I'll try to keep it brief, but I want to talk to you guys about how do we find sources on the internet that we can trust, and what are some tools that can help us do that. I'm going to be coming back to this later, but again, this is my homepage. And at the bottom, where it says useful links, it says novel New York databases. I'm going to show you that later on in this presentation. Um, but I hope we can all agree on the basic premise that you can't trust everything you see on the internet, and you especially can't trust everything you see on social media. So let's talk about where you can find things that you can trust. All right, this is kind of a complex chart here. I'll try to simplify it as much as I can. I've got an image I can post on Google Classroom if you want as well. But you got an y-axis and an x-axis. The y-axis is what type of facts and reporting a news organization does or a website does. And the x-axis is basically, are they biased in favor of Democrats or biased in favor of Republicans? All right. We're going to start at the top and work our way down. Top middle. So all of these sources here, from New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Reuters, AP, NBC, BBC, these are fact-based reporting outlets with minimal amount of bias. Okay, they're all clustered in the middle at the top. There's a little bit, some sway a little bit pro-Democrat, some a little pro-Republican, but these are trustworthy sites here for getting facts about the world. All right. As you move down, what we have here is more analysis about facts. So this group of organizations, like the New Yorker or the Economist, they take the facts and then they analyze them. All right. These can actually be some of the most complex stories because you have more analysis involved in here. But you also see what we start getting is a little bit more bias as they spread out. So an organization like the New Yorker tends to favor the liberal or democratic points of view, whereas an organization like the National Review or the Weekly Standard, they do the same type of analysis, but these two guys, they're going to favor the Republicans' point of view. All right? Now, generally speaking, if you're getting information, you want to stick with either the green box or the yellow box. Once you get down to the orange, you have kind of organizations that have an unfair presentation of the truth. All right. So the New York Post, for example, often kind of has an extremely biased presentation to the point where it distorts the truth. The same can be said of these sites, only they do so in favor of Democrats. And the bottom ones in the red box, we should ignore them altogether. There's nothing on these websites that can be trusted, and they basically exist to fuel division between Democrats and Republicans. All right? So as a scholar going through your life, try to stick to those organizations up here in the green and yellow boxes. All right? Now, the other thing I'm going to talk about is the suffixes to websites. And there's a ton of them, but the four main ones are .gov, .edu, .org, and .com. So let's just go through them. Here is census.gov. And if you didn't know, the 2020 census is currently taking place. You should check with a family member, make sure that they filled it out for your household. But the gov obviously means government website. And by and large, you can trust the data and the research found on government websites. So here's the world population clock as of today and the United States. We can trust what's on census.gov. .edu. Edu, as you probably guessed, is education. Here's the website for my alma mater, Penn State University, psu.edu. And generally speaking, by and large, you can trust the research and the findings found on .edu because they are held to academic standards. All right, now it gets a little more tricky. .orgs for organization. These guys are basically nonprofits. So if a website ends in .org, nobody is trying to make money off it. Here's freedomhouse.org. They basically go around and try to measure the amount of freedom people have in different countries. Democracy on the climb. You know, green countries are free, whatever the case might be. There are no advertisements here, right? Yeah, you can donate money, but they're not selling ad space. These guys can be a little tricky. There are some .orgs you can definitely trust. There's also some that are a little wishy-washy. So just if you're not sure, talk to a teacher, see if that's a credible source. The last one is .com. Com stands for commercial. They want to make money. The New York Times is a public company. They try to make money, so they have to have a .com. Now, just because it's .com doesn't mean you can't trust it. The New York Times, right, is a trustworthy source. But you just have to understand there's going to be a lot of .coms that you can't trust. All right? So generally speaking, govs and edus are the best. .orgs, pretty good. .coms is where you have to do your homework. All right? And there's one last place where we can always, 99.9% always trust it, and that's what's called an academic database. All right? I'm going to go back to, hopefully, website. And well, you know what? I'll just type it here. We are very lucky in New York because we have access to free ones. Usually they cost a lot of money. Ours is called Novel NY, or Novel New York. I think it's, yeah. So no space. Novel NY databases. All right, I'll go to search. It's not the sexiest thing in the world, but it is really good. So here you can go to students. That's where I would go. All right. And they give you resources and they break it down by grade level. All right. So what we're going to need here is, we go to high school and college. The ones that are most useful for us, we've got General One File, called Gale General One File, Gale Academic One File, and Gale Opposing Viewpoints. All right. General One File is like magazines and newspapers that you can trust. So if I click on here, this is what gets annoying. They need to, you can't access this if you're not in New York. Sorry, it kind of can take a while. I should have probably preloaded it, but I wanted to show you. So right here, you can search anything that you want. Let's do, I don't know, I'm thinking of the wildfires in California and throughout the West. And we get lots of things coming back to us. These are all from sources that we can trust, okay? And you can try it you can set it for a certain date or a certain publication, okay? But you can all trust these, all right? Let me see, what can I find? Oh, any of them. All right, dangerous wildfires, continue. All right, here you have it. What is cool? It gives you proper citation at the bottom, which is dope. If you're writing an article, you can save it to your Google Drive, which is dope if you're doing research. All right. So really, really helpful tool. Let me go back. Academic One File is if you want peer-reviewed papers from college professors. All right. This is like the gold standard of credibility. You can trust everything here. The only potential problem is that these tend to be hard to read because they have college students and professors in mind when they write it, not the general public. That's not to say that you guys aren't brilliant and can't make sense of it, but they're just going to be a little bit harder than the general one file. So it looks the same. It's just what's in here is going to be a little bit more academic in nature, okay? But if you're really wanting to do like stringent research, this is where you would go, is to the academics. And the last one here is opposing viewpoints. And you can do the same thing here. But what you're going to get is these are people's opinions, all right? Opposing viewpoints do not present facts. It's what's called editorials or opinion pages, all right? So you're going to see lots of arguments here. That can be really helpful because it helps you kind of see the other side of an argument. All right, so we got to get out of our own little thought bubbles and understand how other people think about an issue. All right, so those are the three databases in Novel New York. And again, Academic OneFile, gold standard, General OneFile, very good. Opposing viewpoints, really helpful, but understand that they're not always fact-based. Often they're opinion or arguments. All right. I'm sorry this was kind of a rambling thing, but it's so important in the current world in which we live to understand where we can get sources we can trust, and what types of tests we should put sources through to make sure that they're credible and present valid information. Your homework tonight is, well, it should be pretty easy. I want everybody to log into Novel New York, go through the clicks I did, and share with me one article related share with me one article related to a topic that you find interesting. And it can be from General OneFile, Academic OneFile, or Opposing Viewpoints. I don't care. I just want to see that you guys know how to access these free databases. All right, kiddos, reach out with questions, concerns, or needs. I am always here to help. Take care.